Hey, welcome. Hope you're having a good Friday. Welcome to Verbling. My name's Hamish, and in this class we're going to have a good look at job interviews and the questions and answers that we should prepare for and prepare to answer well with some calm confidence, and to give some of those specific examples that are going to help an employer know that yes, we're the right person for this job or for this position or for this organization or company as well. And we're going, of course, to look at questions that English-speaking companies are most likely to ask, whether it's an English-speaking company in the UK or the United States or Australia, etc., or perhaps an English-speaking company that has its base or has a factory or headquarters or office in your home country. And perhaps you have this interview over the phone, perhaps you have it on Skype, perhaps you have it in person at their office as well. Whatever the case, we're going to look at those questions that they're most likely to ask you. And today I want to look at questions around, will you fit in? Will you fit in with everyone else in that organization? So those could be questions about teamwork, about communication styles, about leadership. So let's take a look at some of those questions. Let's practice and think and talk about our answers to those questions as well. Just a reminder, these first 2 minutes are for Verbling Premium users. So if you have a premium Verbling membership, you can click on the Join Class button. Otherwise, you have to wait 2 long minutes to join me here in class. So if you're finding it difficult, if you're finding that you're not able to get a spot in the classes that you most want to have, take advantage of that Verbling Premium membership, and that means you can join the class in those first 2 minutes and make sure that you get a spot in the classes of Verbling that are most important for you. While I'm waiting for those 2 minutes, I'm going to give you, on the Verbling chat page, my Facebook page. So please follow me on Verbling. Please follow me on Facebook as well, because every weekend I'll let you know what my schedule for the upcoming week is going to be, and I'm doing IELTS and TOEFL preparation classes, and of course these job interview classes as well. Let's see if there's anything else I can give you here. Oh yes, I also want to put in the Verbling chat the about.com's advice, specifically job interview advice for people who are speaking English as a second language. So let me put that on there, and I think that's an excellent web page and full of good information, advice, and strategies about how best to prepare, and really again the types of questions that you might well be asked and expected to answer in a job interview with an English-speaking company. All right, we have some students. Let's say hello and let's get started. First of all, let me say hello to Carlos. Hello, Carlos.
Hi.
How are you? I'm pretty good. Hey.
Hi.
Where are you from, Carlos?
From Spain.
Spain. And are you working or are you looking for work right now?
Yeah, I am freelance.
Oh, okay.
I work as a freelance. I'm engineer.
Very good. Okay, engineer, right. And are you happy working in Spain? Would you rather work in another country? What do you think?
Yeah, I expect to work in another country. Yes, I think, but in that moment I can only speak English, and it's my. I am very interested in improve my level of English. And that's all.
Okay, well that's great. Carlos, thank you. Welcome to Verbling. Welcome to this class. I hope we have a useful class for you today. Good to see you here.
Thanks.
Let me say hello to Kat. Hello, Kat.
Hi there.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm pretty good. Kat, tell me, where are you from?
I'm from Philippines, but currently I am working here in Thailand.
Oh, okay, okay. And how's the weather in Thailand today?
Yeah, today it's very hot. I think 41, 42 degrees. Not sure. Hotter than that, I think.
That's pretty warm. Well, I hope it's nice and cool here in the Verbling classroom. Kat, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to this class. I'm going to look forward to speaking with you. Let me say hello and welcome back to Liliana. Hello, Liliana. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, Hamish, and you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. It's good to see you again. I hope we get some good practice today in class. Let me say hello to Mert. Hello, Mert.
Hello.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm always good on Friday, Mert. Where are you from?
I'm from Turkey.
Mm-hmm. And are you working? Are you studying? What are you doing right now?
I'm studying at university, and my department is computer engineering.
Ah, okay, okay. And where do you want to work after you finish your studies? Are you going to work? Are you going to look for a job in Turkey or somewhere different?
No, I want to work in United States, but it's so hard for now.
Mm-hmm. And what's the hardest part about doing that? Is it the language, or is it finding the job?
No, not language. Finding job in United States comes with so hard. I don't know why.
And why do you want to work in the United States?
Well, I don't have any idea. I want to go United States since my childhood.
Okay.
So maybe that's why.
All right. And a great place to visit as well, of course. Mert, thank you so much for joining us in class. I hope this is a useful class for you. Let me say hello to, well, I'll do my best. Let's see, is that Tuyet? Tell me if I get that wrong.
Yes, right.
How do I say your name?
Yeah, my name is Tuyet. Yes, I think you pronounced it correctly.
Yeah, that is a first for me then. Tell me, how are you today?
Yes, I'm really well, thanks. How about you?
I'm very good. I'm really glad to hear your voice in class. Where are you from, Tayet?
Yes, I'm from Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And how about you, teacher? Are you American or?
I'm not. I'm Scottish, so I'm from Scotland, but I live and work in the United States now. So
Yeah.
I teach American English most of the time these days. Tayet, are you studying or are you working at the moment?
I finished a 4 years course, and now I think I will continue for 2 years, yeah, to get a master degree, maybe, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what is your subject?
Yeah, English is one of my majors at university.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what do you want to do after your master's degree?
Yeah, actually, I want to get a position in a school, and it's hard for me to, compete with other students. So I need to get a higher degree, so that I can apply for a position in a school.
Okay. Okay. Sounds like a good plan. I like that. Well, it's good to have you in class. Welcome to Verbling, and I hope this is a useful class for you today. Let me go and say hello to Victor. Hello, Victor. Welcome back.
Hello, Hamish.
How are you today?
I'm doing well.
Yeah. Your tiger? He still looks. He's either very tired or very hungry. I still can't decide about the tiger. It's good to have you in class, Victor. Thank you for joining us again. Let me say hello to Zineb. Hello, Zineb.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing fine. What about you?
I'm pretty good. Pretty good. Where are you from, Zineb?
I'm from Morocco.
Morocco. Very nice to have you in class. Are you studying at the moment?
Yeah, I'm still a student.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And what do you want to do after you finish your studies?
Well, to get a job.
Yeah? What kind of job would you like? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, I am an architecture student, so I think I'll be an architect.
All right.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. And it's so good to have all these, so many different backgrounds and different ambitions here in class. I think it makes for a very interesting class. I am going to say hello one more time, and that is hello to, is it Mehdi? How do I say your name? Mehdi, okay. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How about you?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. Where are you from?
I'm from Morocco too.
Oh, no way. How cool is that? Well, welcome to both our Moroccan students today. Great to have, of course, great to have everyone in class today. Let's get started. Now, this week we've been looking at, of course, job interview questions, and we're looking in particular at questions about teamwork, leadership, communications. And these are questions, of course, that companies are asking to find out, well, okay, you've got the skills, you've got the experience, fantastic, but there's 10 other people with those skills and experience. So perhaps they're wondering, well, what makes you special? Or what makes you a good fit for us? What is it about the way you work, the way you present yourself, the way you communicate, the way you, perhaps the way you manage people, or the way you're managed by others? What is it about you that makes you the best worker, the best person for this organization, and of course for this position, for this job as well? So good to look at these types of questions. A lot of the time they're going to ask you these types of questions, but even if they don't ask you, they're definitely thinking about it, right? They definitely want to know if you're the right person, the right match. So skills and experience, very important. You're not going to get a job, you're not going to get the job without the correct or the necessary skills and experience. But it's more than that as well. Even if we have those skills and experience, we still need to demonstrate or show in this job interview that we're the right person as well, the right kind of person. And it's not about being a good person or a bad person, not at all. It's just about being the right fit for that type of company. And there are going to be companies that we want to work for because of the way they manage their staff and develop, the way they organize their work, if it's a big company or a small company, we'll have our own opinions about who we want to work for. And just the same on the other side, these companies will have their own idea about the type of person that they're looking for as well. Right at the top, let's look at our first question. And this, I always put this in because this is the most likely question, or the question that they're very likely to ask you, right? So here's that first one. A question is really more of a request. At the start of an interview with an English-speaking company, very common for them to say, "Oh, hi, tell me about yourself. Tell me about yourself." Would anyone like to practice that question with me?
I'll go for it.
All right. Is that Liliana?
No. Zena.
Oh, I misheard. I'm sorry.
After her.
Okay. Yes. Go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me about yourself.
Well, so my name is Zena. I'm Moroccan girl. I am 20 years old. So yeah, I'm an architecture student. This is my second year. So yeah, my first language is Arabic, and my second one is French, and then comes English to the third place. So.
Okay, I like that. Well, that's a nice introduction. Now tell me, what other things can we talk about? If we have this question, tell me about yourself. It seems like we could talk about anything, right? So what other things are we going to talk about in a job interview when they say, tell me about yourself?
Interest, ambitions, maybe?
Maybe. What are the most...
And the activities that we like to do.
For example?
We like travel. We like to travel all over the world. It's interesting. And the sports that we like to do, and the languages that we practice.
I think you can talk about your experience in your previous job.
I think that's absolutely true. And I think we have a difference here in the type of question that we're thinking about. With, let's see, tell me about, or tell me about. Well, though that kind of question, absolutely, that they're thinking, well, what other things are you into? What do you do when you're not working? And Mehdi, you make a great point. What about travels? And indeed, what are the other languages you speak? What all these things. With that first question, tell me about yourself. We can talk about anything we want, because the question is so broad, So we have an opportunity here to talk about the things the interviewer cares about most. And at the start of this interview, they don't care that much. They don't care that much about your hobby. If they think you're the person for the job, well, sure, maybe they want to know about that. They want to know that you're a complete, a well-rounded person with a variety of interests. But at the start of this interview, because this question, tell me about yourself, they're not asking it after 45 minutes. They're asking it in the first minute, right? When you're sat down, if you're on Skype, check the connection. Can you hear me okay? If you're in the office, maybe they'll say, oh, would you need a glass of water, that kind of thing. How was the journey? After those pleasant questions are out of the way, tell me about yourself. A very common question. If it is a professional interviewer, they might ask you. If it's just the person who might be your boss or your manager, they're still going to ask the question. And yeah, it's an opportunity to talk about the things you want them to know about you. So what are the most important things you want an interviewer to know about you?
I think it's about your personality. I think describe yourself. How you make the relationships with your partners. I think about this kind of questions. I think the interviewer want to know this kind of qualities or about your personality. I think.
And
I think that's Carlos. That's really interesting. Sorry. Yes.
And I think that he also wants to know why I have chosen this profession.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Why you are interested?
Mufti, were you finished?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I just want to focus on two great points there. Absolutely, we have talking more than just what are we like, as Carlos was suggesting. It's also what are we like with other people. What is our working relationship like? That's a great question. That's a great thing to talk about, because again, you can tell them anything you like because it's tell me about yourself. But let's focus on something that they want to hear. Of course, maybe there are some jobs where you sit in an office and never talk to anyone. I think those jobs are very much in the minority now. Most jobs, whatever industry or business you're in, you will need to communicate with people. You will need to share responsibilities and resources with people. Maybe you need to get help from an accountant or a lawyer or a salesperson, or maybe you're the salesperson getting help from other people. So we need to let people know what we're doing. If there's a problem, we need to try and work that out as a team. This is very common these days, whether you're a junior employee or a very senior employee as well. We don't tend to work by ourselves and never tell anyone what we're doing. We have to share that information on a very regular, very transparent basis. So the way that we do that, yes, if I'm interviewing you for the job, I'm definitely interested in how you work with other people, and of course I'm very interested to hear a good example of when you work well with other people as well. Carlos, you gave me that example. I think it's a great example. What if I say tell me about yourself, and you want to talk about your own, the way that you work with others, about your working relationships, what would you tell me about?
Yeah, I think it's my opinion about myself.
Of course.
But I think I am the main characteristic about me is I am an open mind person. I am hard worker. And self-confident. I think it's very interesting and important to have self-confidence. It's because when you have a travel, it's very important to have self-confidence. I think is to know what to do.
That's true.
With decision. Okay.
Okay. No, I like that. And you also mentioned being open-minded, and I agree. I think that's a good thing to say. Of course, maybe they'll say, well, why is that? Why is that good for us? Why is it good to be open-minded? So how would you answer that? What is the advantage of being open-minded at work?
Above all, to respect the other, your partner. Respect all the time. You must to respect the other person, their decisions and their opinions. To reach one point of view between all people, between you and your partners. I think it's very interesting and important. It's are two both are two adjectives.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Interesting and important.
And
Yes.
I have also we can say I am a person who works hard to achieve his goals.
Okay, let's put that in there. Works hard to. Oops. Absolutely. Now, of course, that's a great thing to say, but we need an example. So, Mehdi, what example would you give where you've worked hard to achieve your goals?
Like let me think about it.
Okay. The good news is I have no job to give you, Mehdi. So we don't have to worry about this hour. Now, does anyone else in class? If I was to, because you know what, the whole hardworking thing, this is a good thing to talk about when someone says, "Tell me about yourself." If we say, "Oh yeah, well I'm a hard worker. I set goals and I make sure I achieve those goals." There are you know, if we don't give them an example, I can think of two questions that I would follow up with. One would be, for example, and the other one would be, how do you do that? How do you achieve your goals? What do you do? What is it about your working style or your personality that means that you set goals and then achieve them? So I suppose that let's look at that first one, which was you know, give me an example of when you've worked hard and achieved a goal. Who would like to answer that?
Yes,
I can try. I would like to try.
Okay, Liliana?
I think when I say I work hard because I always compromise myself to finish the work that the company demands from me to do my best of me, to be punctual, always punctual, to be responsible of my tasks at work, to give what else? I think to when the owners of the company demands an extra time to work, I always be willing to do it.
Okay.
What else?
I like that. You're giving me some good details there, Liliana. Absolutely. And of course, in our real job interview, when you're looking for a real job, you will also give them, and I mean if this everybody, you're going to give them a concrete, real life example of when you achieved a goal. So we can give those details about being punctual, about being open-minded, but we're also going, and of course, if we just finished our studies, well, fine, we give an example of when we were a student at university or college, and we had a big project to work on, maybe as part of a team, for example, and we can talk about our contribution to finishing that project. We can talk about, here's the problem, here's what I did, and here's the outcome as well, because we always want to talk, if we can, whenever we can, we want to give that happy ending, that good outcome, that story of success, and linking ourselves to that story of success as well. So good to give those concrete examples, and of course that's something we'll prepare for a job interview. We'll think, well, what example would I give to answer this question and this question? It doesn't mean you need 50 sorry, come on.
Like for example, of the question, how do you do that? I can say I spend a lot of time working on such a project that has interested me, and I have another thing that to do. In the first question, tell me about yourself. I can say I am punctual, and.
Punctual's good. It depends, of course, on the level of the job you're going for, and if you're an experienced professional person, they're going to assume that you're punctual. They're going to take it for granted that you're punctual. If you're just starting out, if you're a younger person at the beginning of your career, well, then you're not proven. So absolutely, they're thinking, well, this person, maybe they don't have all the experience, but they seem intelligent, they're eager to learn, they're eager to improve, so we'll give them a chance, but they better show up on time, they better go to the meetings they say they're going to go to, they better finish their work on schedule. So yes, then we have an opportunity as a younger, less experienced worker or a more junior worker to focus on that point, to say, yes, I'm reliable, I'm punctual, and to give examples of us doing that. And I'm punctual. Oh yeah, just last week, yeah. Or you could talk about, if you're in your first job, you could say, well, my boss, just last week, my boss was telling me that he or she was so glad I always turned up to work on time. So you can talk about what others have said about you as well to increase the evidence there. Of course, if that person is going to be a reference, you better make sure that it's accurate and honest when you say these things. But punctuality is good for some levels of jobs. Absolutely, a good thing to talk about. Yeah.
Okay.
Liliana, you mentioned a point. We talked about compromise, and in terms of the English, I just want to say we can say I'm open to
open to compromise.
Yeah, let me see. Open to or I'm able to compromise. We won't use this as a Mert, I don't want the camera in class today, okay? We can talk about being open to compromise or able to compromise.
Okay.
We're not gonna turn it into a reflexive verb. We're not going to compromise ourselves, because that is a much more negative feeling. It's compromising at a cost to something. So if of course in a job interview we mean, and I know you meant it in a much more positive way. So yes, we can say open to compromise. I'm able to compromise, and also I've heard some great things already today about listening to others and about being open to others, and this ability to hear people and genuinely to actively hear what they're saying and to respond to that. Especially, I mean, for example, maybe you have an idea, you have a new way of doing things. Well, we can't just go in and say, oh, that's it, we're changing everything. We have to persuade, we have to communicate, and if people around us are saying, well, I don't like this idea for the following reasons, we better listen carefully. And that doesn't mean we don't get to do this idea. It just means we need to find a way to persuade and reassure. And we can only persuade and reassure and communicate and influence if we hear people, if we give them a chance, but also if we listen carefully. If we're just so full of our big idea that we don't hear them, we're not going to persuade anyone. It's not going to work, because these are the skills we need. We need these days. We need that listening skill, those communication skills. Companies know that, and they want to hear you. They want to hear you talk about these things. They also want to hear good examples of when you demonstrated these things, because without the evidence, it's just words, right? We need those examples. And I know sorry, go on.
Can I say, for example,
of course.
In my previous job, I usually to be punctual, for example, to receive, for example, if I apply for a customer agent, I always to be punctual to receive calls when the system is opened. Something like that. Because in these positions, you always the company demands that staff be on time to receive calls from customers. So I think they always like to hear that that we always be on time, or to I don't know how to say that. Because we always work with shifts, so it's very important that we. I don't know how to say that. Well, in my previous job, I always have this expression that they say we need that you always be. For example, if your turn is from 8 to 5. You always be on 8 o'clock in your and you are able to receive calls, but I don't know how to say that.
So, well, yes, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what you're going for with that, but I know. I mean, you're right, of course, that we need to talk about, to be aware of the business reason for being on time and for being able to take calls, and aware of the importance, because we know in some businesses exact timing isn't actually the most important thing. It's the quality of the product, or just getting things done within that business month. But other times, yes, if there's a shipping requirement, or if someone is taking delivery or receiving something that they're going to send out, then of course it is minute by minute or second by second. So yes, to be aware of that and to talk about the importance, and of course to say, I've had the experience of working to very tight deadlines, and I've demonstrated the ability to meet those deadlines and to do my part of that process. Because most of the time in work, the things we do, unless we're self-employed, it's not 100% down to us. We are going to be part of a team or an organization, and it's fine to talk. It's fine to give credit to other people in a job interview. You can say, "Well, I have a great team right now." That's fine, because that shows humility. It shows modesty. But at the same time, of course, the only person who can speak for you in this job interview is you. So when you have good things to talk about, we'd better make sure that we give that evidence, that we talk about what I did and what my contribution was, because no one else is going to do that for you. So these are points that we definitely important for answering these kinds of questions. Victor, I liked your point about compromising on challenges. What would you say, Victor, if we asked about how is compromise important? Are you able to compromise at work? What would you say to that?
I bring up because that happened to me. I was working in a project of stocks. So I was doing the project, and I was getting the goals. But sometimes a coworker or a partner arrived and told me, "Hey, you know what? The boss is in a meeting. Let's go." And he told me, "Hey, I need your backup. So everyone is gonna change their current job, and we need to do this faster because we got new goals. Sometimes I was, I mean, my willpower was there. I was with a compromise, but sometimes I was upset because 4 times I didn't finish my job, and I was getting upset because I was the same. Almost when I was ready to deliver the list of the products, they changed the job, and at the same time it's a problem for the department because you left work for other days and you ever finish all the projects. So you need to get the challenges, and you say, okay, if my boss could be is not a good leadership leader, well, let's take the challenge and show him or show her that you are doing the job, even if he or she isn't backing you up.
I think I really appreciate that example, that story of Victor.
Can I add something?
Of course you can, yeah.
We can add like I adapt easily and I like working in groups. I don't have problems working in groups, and I adapt easily in the job. Like I'm how to say you understand what I mean?
I do, but and it's a great thing to talk about. If we talk about being adaptable, and I think Victor's example was a good example of adaptability. If we talk about it, we need to. If we talk about it in a job interview, we need to be ready to give an example of when we've done this. Because these are great words, but we need to, again, provide the evidence to say, oh, and by the adaptability thing, that's a great thing. And here's when I do this. Here's when I've done it in the past. And then it's so strong as an answer.
We can say when I play football, I like working in groups. I don't have problems to adapt. I adapt easily because when we have someone who play sports, he's always like working in with group. I don't know how to say it.
Okay, and I think we can use sport, and of course if we're playing that sport, we can use that as an example. Absolutely, any team sport is going to be a good example to use for teamwork. Yeah. I would suggest, again, in a job interview, the first thing you reach for when you're thinking, where's my example, where's my experience, it's going to be a work example. Now, if you don't have a work example, then you can reach, absolutely, you could reach to hobbies, to interests, to voluntary work, and of course to your studies. If it wasn't 20 years ago, if the studies were quite recent, you can absolutely look to those. When you study, when you do a course at university or college, that's going to be full of great examples of working together, working independently, delivering deadlines, all those good things. Yeah, but I would put it in that order. I would think, okay, work, recent work experience as examples. If the study is recent, use that. And if there's nothing there you can use, or you don't want to keep using the same example for every question, then sure, think about your hobbies and interests. If this is a concrete example, like you say, of playing football within a team, that it's a good example. But I would always put a work example above that, because again, it's about making that link between what you do and what you have done in a working environment and what they're looking for, and it's easier for them to see the connection. And we are all about making this as easy for the interviewer to understand as possible. We don't want them to have to work too hard to make these connections. We don't want them to have to work too hard at all, to be honest, in a job interview, because we want their job to be easy. Their job is to give us the job, right? But I'm not disagreeing with the football example. I just think there might be other ones that you might want to choose as well, sort of before talking about hobbies and interests and things like that. But I like, you know, it's still good. It's still good stuff. Go ahead.
Sometimes when we in a job interview, maybe the interviewer asks you if they want to know how do you adapt in a difficult situation. Maybe they ask you a question like tell me about the time when you faced a difficult situation.
And let me just put that in the chat box, because this language we're using is, let's see, yeah, there we go. Tell me, there we go. Can't spell today. Tell me about a time when, ... Tell me about a time when you, and Badir, your example, when you faced a difficult situation, that's a great question for a job interview. These tell me about a time when, these are great. That's such a clear phrase for them to use in an interview. Because of course, this is an open question, and it's also a direction. They're not saying, "Have you had a difficult challenge?" They're saying, "Tell me about your difficult challenge." And there's not a, well, yes I did have one. Yeah. We're going to have to give them an example. Otherwise, we're not answering the question. So it's a strong question, and of course, if we don't prepare an answer for that, it might be difficult just to come up with something. So, tell me, Badir, it's your question. What would you give us as an example?
Like you can give him an example about your daily life when you faced a difficult situation, like in your work or in your home, like that.
Can you be even more specific about a work situation? What would count as a difficult situation in your experience?
Maybe you can talk about a challenge at your work and how you resolve this problem, or you can say how you deal about this situation.
You can, but I want an even more specific example. I'm not picking on you, Badir, I promise. Does anyone want to give me a specific example?
Program codes, maybe.
Mert,
Program codes. There are too many challenges about them.
Can you tell me again, Mert? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Creating new program codes. They can be a challenge. So this is so hard, and they might want you to code something, and this is the important thing.
Can I?
Of course, Liliana, go ahead.
For example, in my previous, I can say when a customer demands me or when the customer didn't understand what I told him, I always try to remain calm and avoid to stress myself, and always try to help them, even in a difficult situation. I think the most important thing is to be calm and to give the right information that the customer wants to hear, and always remaining calm and try to listen to the customer. In my work.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I, if I'm your interviewer, I'm interested in you and in your experience. So that I think that's a very valid answer, Liliana. Just as when Mert tells us about having to program a code, if that's being the difficult challenge, it's about our experience. It's about, because of course we need to give an example, but sometimes the example itself isn't the most important thing. The most important thing is A, we've had the experience, and B, we successfully tackled, we successfully overcame that challenge. So while, yes, they're listening for a specific example to show that it actually happened, right? But they're also listening for, well, what did you do? So we've got, you know, if it's tell me about a difficult challenge you had at work, for example, well, let's describe the challenge, yeah? But of course also we need to say, well, here's what I thought of the challenge, here are the things I was thinking about, and then, well, here's what I did, here's my action, right? And then here's the result. And you know what, if you had a challenge and you tried to do something and it ended horribly, it ended in disaster, we're gonna choose something else to talk about, right? We're gonna want to give an example of a difficult challenge where we took action that had a good result, and of course a good result for the company as well. So you know, these are the things we're wanting to hit. What was the problem? What did I do? What was the outcome? And within that, we can still talk about, oh, and my boss gave me some good advice that day, or we worked so well as a team that day. I was so proud of the people I was working with. We can talk about these things, absolutely, and those are good things to talk about. But we absolutely must cover our own action. And I'm gonna, you know, if I'm the interviewer, I want to hear a lot of I's here, as in I did this and I thought about that and then I saw that at the end, to show that this is about you. You know, because again, the job is about you. It's not about the whole team. So we can talk about other people, and please do. If credit is, if we need to credit other people for helping, for teaching us something, these are great things to talk about, because it shows we can be taught, right? It shows we can be helped, or that we can ask for help when it's appropriate. But we know the number one thing in all these questions throughout the interview is about you. Right? It's about your experience, about your action. You're demonstrating that you already can do the skills that they're looking for this position. Again, this is why you are such a good fit, because you've done all these things. You've been in these situations, or you can, even if you haven't been, even if there are things that you haven't done, that you can explain what you would do in a given situation, that you can think through the process. And be convincing about that, because you know, if you join a new company, there are going to be ways of working or systems and things like that where, well, you can't do it until you join the company. Maybe it's a unique system they have, but you can talk about something else that you did that's comparable and show, or perhaps just show that I'm quick to learn. Yeah, I can pick up things very quickly. And again, for the recent graduate, so important to show, because you don't have a lot of experience as a recent graduate. It's unlikely. You have a lot of work experience. So don't talk about the work experience so much. Talk about the fact that, hey, I just finished 4 years of school or university, and I can give you great examples of how quickly I pick up on things, how fast a learner I am. Look at my recent skills. Look at my recent qualifications. These are your strengths, right? Adaptability, my goodness, yes. If you're that younger worker, play on that. Play on the fact that you're not used to doing things your own way. You're used to adapting to the new organization, because that could be a good thing. Sometimes they're looking for someone with that, and the experience isn't as important. It depends on the job, of course, that you're going for.
You had a lot of experience. Maybe you are adaptable to change some of your, how can I say that, your attitude. You always be open to receive others' opinion about your job, or to improve your job.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. It can be very easy if someone has been working in a business for 20 or 30 years. It's a dangerous situation, because we have all that experience, but the employer might think, we have a new system, I don't know if they can change. But if you have the interview, well, clearly you have a chance to get the job. So yes, for that older, more experienced worker, we need to make sure, as well as talking about our experience, because we have a wealth of experience. If we've been doing that kind of work or in that kind of business for a long time, this is a great advantage. But we also need to make clear, yes, as Lillian, absolutely right, that we can adapt to new systems, that we're open to new ideas, and we need to give clear examples of us doing that as well. Recent examples where we perhaps changed the way we work, or just showing that, if you work in software development or computer engineering, that well, I read the latest blogs. I take part in website discussions. I just updated my qualifications, things like that, to show that you're still current, that you're 2013 and you're not 1993 in terms of your knowledge. Yeah. So whatever age you are, whatever level of experience you have, there are difficult things to talk about in an interview, but you always have an advantage. Younger people have an advantage because of their recent qualifications, because of their youth and their adaptability. More experienced people, of course, well, they have that experience as the advantage. So I don't think there's a perfect age to be entering the workforce these days. We all have advantages and we all have things that we need to be careful about so that we don't fit into a stereotype of older and inflexible or younger and inexperienced, because those guys, neither of them get the job, right? So yes, it's good to consider our strengths and how we focus on those, and also how we reassure the employer. So if we're younger, yeah, that employer might be thinking, I need someone with more experience. If you have the job interview, if you're sitting there, you have a chance to reassure them that you are trainable, adaptable, that your skills are so fresh, you're going to be an asset. But you need to say these things, and you need to give evidence of your adaptability, of your trainability as well. Otherwise, they don't have it. They're going to have to go with someone else because they're not reassured. But let me tell you, if you have a job interview with someone, you must have a chance, right? If they looked at your, if they thought, oh, you're too young, well, you don't get the job interview, right? But if you were young and get the job interview, clearly you have an opportunity to reassure them that you're still the right person. Yeah. So it's for you. This job interview is your chance. Strengths, skills, and experience, background, work history, all those good things. But also to make sure, is there anything they're worried about? Well, let's persuade them. Let's persuade them, reassure them that isn't a problem. Absolutely. Yeah.
Can you give me how do you answer this question? Tell me about yourself to know how's the right way to do it. Okay.
My suggestion, the way I would answer it, yes. And again, this might depend on how old you are. It might depend on the job you're going for as well. But we want to hit three key things. Whatever the job is, let's hit three key things. Okay. So, tell me about yourself. We're going to talk about our, well, this is a big one. Skills, experience. Oops. Let's put skills and experience. Yeah. 1, 2, work history, and number 3, why. Right? And that's it, okay? So here's what I'm good at, here's what I've done, here's what I'm doing right now, and here's why I'm sitting here in front of you applying for this job. Either why I want the job or why I'm perfect for this job, because these are the things they most want to know. So they ask that question right at the start, and it's great. It's a great chance just to speak English, of course, to warm up and to get used to that job interview environment, because it's not a casual conversation. It's a formal interview, and we can be nervous and anxious. Of course we can. If we prepare well for this question, for tell me about yourself, and it's going to be the first question probably that they ask you, what a chance we have to speak with confidence and calm enthusiasm for maybe a minute and a half and talk about all the things they want to hear about, right? They want to know, do I have the skills and experience? They want to know about my work history, my recent studies. They want to know about what I'm doing right now, and they want to know why I applied for the job, right? These are the most important things for them to know about. And of course, even while we're talking, yes, they're looking and they're registering our body language, the way we talk, our eye contact, our smiles. They're looking at these things. They're probably not taking notes of how good a smiler you are, but the smile is important. The eye contact, of course, very important as well. With a Western company, with an English-speaking company, we have to look them in the eye, okay? What does eye contact mean? I mean, if you're speaking with a British or American company, what does eye contact actually mean if we look someone in the eye?
You're paying attention.
to see
Friendly?
Interviewer, to pay attention.
Paying attention, absolutely right. Yeah. So, you know, if I had to put it in one phrase, I would say it means we're open for business, right? Because if we're looking away, if we're looking down, the engagement just isn't there. Okay. And of course, sometimes, you know, if we have notes for a Skype interview, of course, we can put all our papers to one side. If we're having trouble remembering things, we can do that. But and they don't know, because this is all you can see, right? It doesn't matter. But we have to be careful when we're speaking to look them in the eye. And I don't mean crazy look them in the eye, but do the eye contact thing. And when we're listening, pay attention. Show you're paying attention by looking them in the eye. It's more professional, it's friendlier, it looks honest. And I know eye contact, of course, all over the world, it can mean different things. But when we're speaking to an English-speaking company, and I mean a British, Australian, Canadian, New Zealand, Scottish, whatever it is, eye contact will be received in a good way. They will expect you to do that. And if you don't, it has negative connotations. And of course, sometimes we're not comfortable doing that. We can be nervous. If we're speaking with someone we've never seen before, and with a Skype interview, you know, we've got an image of ourselves, so it's tempting to keep looking down at that. Minimize it and look at the camera, okay, or look somewhere near the camera, because then you're looking at them, and that's really good. That's a really good thing. Yeah. I don't know why I started talking about eye contact. It's a good thing to do. Let's see. We've got 3 minutes, so I'm just thinking. Oh, that's an interesting question. Adaptability and changeability. Well, it seems to me that's pretty much the same thing. If we talk about adaptability and the ability to change. Let me just mute that one. That was a bit of noise there in my earlobe. Yes, adaptability and changeability, really the same thing in terms of. I really liked. Was it Mahmoud? I think it was giving us that great example of having to change rapidly, having to change the work you're doing at a moment's notice to react and to make sure that the product goes out on time. And that adaptability, it's difficult. I mean, I don't know anyone who thinks, give me some change, give me something completely different to do when I walk into that office building. That's a difficult thing to adjust to. And often we have to rely on a good team. And I wanted to mention just a last thing about, you know, when that tell me about yourself, that question. If we want to talk about our best skills, the things that we're best at, and I think we probably do, and we want to look at the job advertisement, don't we? And if there are 3 skills, and if one of the essential things they're looking for is communication skills, and they say, tell me about yourself, I think it's a good idea to talk about our communication skills and to give a good example of that. If one of the top 3 is leadership skills, leadership qualities, again, we want to talk about leadership. And we can talk about leadership without having been a team leader or a director or a manager. Anyone at any level in an organization can demonstrate leadership. And if we think about that example of adapting to a change, of changing the work you're doing and going to work for another team very quickly to get something done, we can show leadership in the way we react to a request like that. So if we're willing to adapt, if we're willing to change what we're doing and how we're doing very quickly without collapsing or without complaining too much, we might have a valid complaint. Of course we might. We can't do everything they ask us to do necessarily. But leading by example, that could be your example of leadership. Even if you haven't had a senior position, you can talk about the way that you led by example. And that could be by turning up on time. That could be about not gossiping about people. It could be about producing a high quality work. Yeah. So I just want to finish on that leadership point, because it's don't be afraid of talking about your leadership qualities, even as a younger person, even if you're someone with less experience. We can all show leadership. And I bet at university, my goodness, again, a great example where every student at some point has to lead a discussion, has to lead work on a project when you're working as part of a team, all these things. So you have led. everyone has led, and everyone can show these leadership qualities, and companies are looking for those things. Yeah, they're interested in whether you can do that and whether you're a good fit again for the organization. Hey, we're out of time. We're going to do more of these next week, okay? And we can keep going with the teamworking stuff. And next time, I'm going to put a list of questions. And if you want to join me in that class next week, and I want to do it 2 times, I'm going to give you the questions. You can take a look at those ahead of time, and then we're just going to run through those questions. Those questions about teamwork, communications, a little bit of leadership maybe as well, dealing with difficult situations, all that good stuff, okay? So you can look at those questions, think of your examples, those good examples that you can give us, me and the rest of the class, and we can practice those next week. So please join me again. I want to give you that Facebook page.
When will we have the next class about job?
That's a very good question. I can't remember. But if you follow me on Facebook, and I'll put my schedule up at the weekend, and there'll be at least maybe 3 of these classes next week. So on Sunday, I'll put that schedule on my Facebook page, so please take a look at that this weekend. Nice one. Thank you so much. This is such great discussion, great answers, great examples in this class. Thank you so much. See you again soon, okay?
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks a lot.